And the NCAA made no rules. The transfer portal doesn't exist. This is worse than the NFL. The transfer portal has officially killed college football, or anything that you think it is. This is one of the most unprecedented moves in the NIL era. And to be honest with you, I'm confused. The NCAA is confused, and no one really understands how this works legally. So if you're not understood, if you don't know, there's been an ongoing story about a gentleman named Xavier Lucas. On December 19th, announced that he was going to be entering the transfer portals and doing the papers to do so. A week and a few days later was that I still intend to transfer, but at the moment, Wisconsin is refusing to release me into the transfer portal. I've met all NCAA requirements of the transfer portal. I've yet to be put into the transfer portal by Wisconsin, which is impeding my ability to speak with schools. I'm not sure if this is unprecedented, but this is definitely the first time I've ever seen anything like this. Now, fast forward a few weeks, he obtained legal counsel, and that legal counsel basically was working to ensure that he could actually get into the transfer portal. Fast forward to today, because this has been almost a month ongoing thing of figuring out, is he going to be in the transfer portal? What's wrong? Why didn't Wisconsin let him in the transfer portal? And now everything has been answered. And to be honest with you, it's exactly what I guessed it was. What happens if somebody wants to transfer in the new era of revenue sharing? You already signed your deal over, and then you hop in the transfer portal. That is what happened by all accounts with Xavier Lucas. If y'all are not familiar, it's still being passed through the House and the Supreme Court. It's a bunch of crazy. It's more legalese and less football stuff. So we can get into that when it's done. But they are in the midst. The government is in the midst of being able to transition collegiate sports over to the revenue sharing plan. A lot of schools are getting ready for that, and getting ready for that is signing contracts. Funny enough, contracts is something that we've been talking about that needs to happen in the world of the NIL. It needs to happen in the world of the transfer portal. And as soon as it happens, we see the biggest problem. And it's not NIL. It's the transfer portal, because by all intents and purposes, what this means, and we're going to get deeper into it, it means the transfer portal doesn't exist. It's not real, guys. And I know that doesn't make sense. What do you mean? People in the transfer portal, they transfer all the time. It doesn't mean anything. No transfers mean anything ever. No commitments mean anything ever. And now an NIL contract signed over with your name, image, and likeness to a university effectively means nothing. I don't know if there's a Wild West of all time. We keep talking about this Caden Proctor situation that happened just last year, right? He transfers from Alabama, goes to Iowa, signs a Iowa NIL deal upwards of hundreds of thousands of dollars just for him to enter the transfer portal again in the spring and go back to Alabama, money in hand. Now we have some. How do you legally do this? And this is the question I asked y'all, but now it's time to answer the question. There is a gentleman who has signed his NIL rights over and is going to be playing at a different school in the fall. He is going to have his name. He legally on the contract is going to owe whatever that amount is on revenue sharing. They're going to owe him money for playing at a different university. And God forbid he goes to Miami and then signs another revenue sharing contract, because there's no rules. So he could probably do that. Okay, this is just mind-boggling to me. So let's just read, I guess, some of these more details to see if we can get anything from this. But yeah, so step by step, like I said, we already talked about him trying to enter the transfer portal officially just last night. He gets to enter the transfer portal and he does enter the transfer portal. He just signs with Miami. So let's read through these. Breaking it. Wisconsin quarterback Xavier Lucas is transferring to Miami. The 6'2", 200-pounder has 3 years of eligibility left after emerging as a standout true freshman. And that's another thing. Wisconsin, this was a guy that Xavier Lucas was the highest graded defensive player this season. Legit track speed and member of the Heritage 4x100 team. Wisconsin DB Xavier Lucas is expected to transfer. The 4-star in the 2024 class in 203 snaps, had an interception, 3 pass breakups, and posted an overall grade of 81.2. So this is no scrub. And I think that's what makes it worse. Because if there was just some dude, some guy doing that, I don't think anybody cares. But this is a legit guy, and he's going to a legit university with a long history of violations when it comes to money in the NCAA. So I think everybody's just kind of thrown any of those situations out the window and just kind of accepted it. So here's Ross Dellinger saying, in a precedent-setting move that may spark landmark legal action among schools, Wisconsin defensive back Xavier Lucas, who signed a rev share deal with the University of Wisconsin, is transferring to Miami, according to his attorney. Wisconsin refused to enter him in the portal. So that means to this day, Wisconsin still never signed the papers for him to enter the transfer portal. Lucas signed a 2-year contract with the University of Wisconsin, a Big Ten document contingent on House approval, like we alluded to, and I told you about. It's still going through everything, but they're getting ready for it, granting schools his NIL rights while prohibiting other schools from those rights. A legal showdown in Wisconsin, Big Ten versus Miami awaits. And I know what you're saying. Well, it says that Wisconsin has his rights for 2 years in his contract. It is what it is. But again, the NCAA rules do not prevent a student athlete from unenrolling from an institution, enrolling at a new institution, and competing immediately. That's the statement that Yahoo Sports gave. So they just told you it doesn't matter. And now you're like, well, okay, but he has NIL rights. That's the contract. Again, guys, it doesn't matter because the NCAA or his lawyer could go, well, technically he's enrolled at this school. And once he's enrolled, once he's in Miami enrolled, if he ever does, if he doesn't enter the transfer portal again, because clearly he can do that. The rules do not prevent a student athlete from unenrolling from an institution, enrolling at a new institution, and competing immediately. I'm sorry, I'm trying to wrap my head around it while I'm reading it too. This is crazy. This is crazy. So back on what I was saying, right? They can't. So Wisconsin's going to have legal reason to want his, obviously have his NIL deals, make money off of his play, basically, right? And they're still going to have to pay him though, right? So Wisconsin technically would probably want to have an out because they would probably not want to pay this dude not on their roster. And then Miami is going to, and their attorneys, and Xavier Lucas' attorney is going to be like, yo, they're probably going to look into some other NCAA rule about NIL and say, hey, he's legally enrolled in this institution, XYZ element of P. This is the only institution that can have his NIL rights. It's going to get nasty. It's going to get real nasty. And basically what this has told, for at least until the NCAA does anything, y'all better be ready. And I know we talked about the Rashadas, him transferred. I know we talked about Jaron Kiwi, him transferring, committing to Oregon and then transferring to Cal before even doing anything. And it really keeps painting this picture that if you are a team, if you're a fan of a team, let me prepare the fans. Do not think that you've secured anybody. That's just what it is. And that's what I kind of alluded to. And I hope I said that at the beginning, that like we talk a lot about college football being dead and NIL. Dog, it's not dead. There's just no more rules. Like no one knows what it is. It's an amoeba. I don't know. Who knows? Diego Pavia just got approved for his 6th year after playing 2 years of JUCO. Xavier Lucas just forcefully transferred after signing his name on a contract of money in NIL representation and said, I'm done. I'm going to Miami. I'm confused because I want these kids to have this freedom. It's so important that these kids have freedom because the coaches have had this freedom. The athletic directors have had this freedom. Every single person who has actually been benefiting off of their play has had the ability to move, leave, and go wherever they may. My problem is there are no rules for these kids, and at the end of the day, it's gonna cause them to have a bigger issue. We're over here talking about, oh, well, Xavier Lucas can make all this money. What if this ends up saying that Xavier Lucas can't make any money next year because you signed a deal at another institution and you're playing at another one? There's no law for that. There's hey, the NCAA made no rules. They made no rules, and here is what they wanted. This is the situation that the NCAA has been wanting to happen. An unprecedented situation where no one has answers, and Wisconsin is sitting there with their in their hands. Like I don't know what the transfer portal means. I don't know if commitments mean anything. This just proves that the newest thing. So let me just read this. In the MOU conditioned on approval of the House settlement, which has yet to receive final approval, and Xavier attending class no later than spring 2025, he unenrolled from the institution. Furthermore, he sought to enter his name into the transfer portal. Let me read. I'm gonna read the full thing because he's reading it. So the MOA conditioned approval of the House settlement, which has yet to receive final approval, and Xavier attending classes no later than spring 2025, he enrolled from the institution. Furthermore, he sought to enter his name to the transfer portal, but the institution improperly denied his right to do so. Of course, because he signed he signed the NIL contract. So fair to them, they probably didn't even know what to do. I was mad at Wisconsin, but like, what do you do? Which is apparently a violation of the NCAA rules. I wouldn't be surprised if the NCAA take action for that. That notwithstanding, the institution has not paid any monies to him. Is that how you say it? I'm not smart enough. And it owes no reimbursement to the institution. Wisconsin done enough to ruin its reputation. Move on. And that's what the attorney is saying. So the attorney, and I have to agree with you. Look, that's the thing. If that's the way the law is, I'm not mad at this kid. I'm not mad at the attorney. I'm not mad at anybody except the NCAA for allowing some crazy like this to happen. It's his fault. Wisconsin said a kid couldn't go in the portal. The kid and his lawyer said the portal doesn't exist, and the NCAA said you got us there. I think it's past time for another governing body. The NCAA has lost it, utterly and completely. I've spent this whole video just yapping in disbelief of the fact that this man, like, just be prepared, dog. Be prepared. If you sign anybody and these money and then people are starting to sit and it's, I hate to say it, this is worse than the NFL. Everyone's been talking about what's the NFL. Dog, the NFL has rules and regulations in the CBA. These motherfuckers is just hopping around. I'm gonna make a prediction. I made this prediction last time and it came to fruition. So I'm gonna make another prediction. I hate it. I guarantee you somebody is going to find a rule, a loophole, or something to practice in summertime, get NIL money through summertime, and transfer before the start of the season and play for another team and get NIL money. It's going to happen, I guarantee you. With these rules, unless the NCAA but decides to add rules to this thing that the Pandora's box that they opened and allowed to just explode everywhere, we're going to be seeing some nasty stuff. I want to see the first player to play for two teams in the same season. That's going to be great. I want to see somebody go 7-0 with Alabama, transfer to Georgia, and then win the SEC championship against them. This is crazy. Say goodbye to college football, man. But if you like NIL stuff, I would say college football content. I'm not even sure if I'm covering college football anymore. I'm covering legalese at this point. I'm not smart enough for this. But I appreciate y'all watching these videos. Leave a like if you like it. Dislike if you don't like it. Subscribe if you enjoy college football. We'll see you next time. Peace.